Okay, how many of you learned to ride from this guy? Hey, my name's Kevin. I'm the host here at MCrider, where we release a weekly video to help make you a better rider. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button and make sure and click the bell icon for future notifications of new videos. And if you want to get more involved, consider becoming a patron on Patreon, where you'll get access to the field guide with exercises that you can work on your own time on any open parking lot. This week we're continuing our new rider series where we're helping new riders get more comfortable on a motorcycle. So this week we've got an easy exercise for new riders. It's easy in design, but it's probably one of the most important exercises that any new rider can master. In fact, I would encourage you to master this exercise before you start moving out on a motorcycle. It develops your clutch and throttle control. And it's good for experienced riders too when you're getting on a motorcycle that you're not familiar with. Using a clutch is something that a lot of new riders aren't used to. There's not a whole lot of standard transmissions in cars anymore, and it's a foreign concept when people first get on a motorcycle. So, brief explanation of a clutch. The clutch is that control over on the left-hand side of the handlebars. We did a video on the controls earlier. If you missed that, go back and watch the controls video. But the clutch, it removes or adds power from the engine to the rear wheel. So if I've got the motorcycle in gear and I squeeze the clutch all the way in, I've removed all the power from the rear wheel. Fully release the clutch, it's got all the power going to the rear wheel. If I squeeze that clutch in, however, and slowly begin to release my clutch hand, letting that clutch engage, it gets to a section that we'll call the friction zone. And the friction zone is something where the clutch is just beginning to add partial power to the rear wheel. And a car, if you rode around in a car with a standard transmission, kept the clutch partially engaged, it would quickly burn the clutch up. But a motorcycle clutch is wet, so it's got oil going through it, and it's designed to be ridden some with the clutch in the friction zone. In fact, riding a clutch in the friction zone on a motorcycle is the only way that you can ride it smoothly at slow speeds. So this exercise is going to develop that muscle memory to transition from the clutch to the throttle, help you start out smoother, and help you avoid that whiskey throttle that we saw early on and letting the motorcycle get out of control. So at any time, if you're on a motorcycle, you're starting out, and the motorcycle feels like it's getting out of control, the first thing you need to do is reach over and squeeze that clutch all the way in. That's going to remove all the power from the rear wheel. At that point, it doesn't matter how much noise that engine is making. If you've got that clutch squeezed in, you've just removed all the power from that rear wheel. In a minute, we'll go out to the range and I'll demonstrate this technique. But all I'm doing here is I've got the bike in gear, I've got the clutch fully engaged, and then you'll hear the engine rev up just a little bit. I'm giving it just a little bit of gas, and I'm slowly releasing that clutch out to the friction zone. The motorcycle will pull forward, and I'll squeeze the clutch in, I'll push it back with my legs. I'll release the clutch out, let the motorcycle pull me forward, squeeze the clutch in, roll it back. So it's just going to be a rocking back and forth in place. I'm not riding the motorcycle. I'm not even attempting to pick my feet up. I'm just getting a feel for that clutch and throttle control and that friction zone, and slowly letting the motorcycle pull me forward and controlling the speed or the power of that engine with the clutch. That's a key thing to get used to when you start learning to ride a motorcycle, is controlling the power of that engine with the clutch. So let's go out to the range. I'll demonstrate it for you, and we'll talk about it as we watch. Before we begin the exercise, I want you to notice a few things about my body position on the motorcycle. My back's straight, so I'm sitting upright. My head and eyes are up. Notice I'm not looking down at the controls, but I'm looking across the parking lot. It's very important for new riders not to look at the controls, because once you get out on the street, all that bad stuff is going to be down the road, so you want to have your eyes in a position to see that as soon as possible. Notice there's a slight bend in my elbows, so my arms aren't locked out or locked into position, but I've got some flexibility in my elbows as well. In addition to this, my wrist is flat as I place my hand on the throttle. It's not ratcheted up or down, but in a nice flat, neutral position as my hand rests on the throttle. As you watch the exercise, you can hear the RPMs on the engine build as I give the motorcycle just a minimal amount of throttle as I'm slowly releasing the clutch to let the motorcycle pull me forward. Then I'm squeezing in the clutch as I roll back off the throttle and pushing the motorcycle back to the start position with my legs. If you're a new rider, this exercise is crucial. It's going to help you develop that muscle memory of using the clutch and the throttle in conjunction, and get it in your mind that that clutch is going to control the power of the motorcycle. So find an empty parking lot, get the bike down into first gear, and practice this exercise just rocking back and forth in place. I'd encourage you to do this in the open area. You don't want to do it in your garage, just in case the bike gets out of control and you release that clutch more than you need to. Find a nice big open space that's going to give you plenty of runoff room. Practice this before you go take the basic rider course, because this will be an exercise you'll do in a BRC. And if you know this, or if you've got this skill down before you ever show up for the class, it's going to help you a lot to master the skills and continue to develop those skills that they're going to teach you in a basic riding course. If you have any questions about the exercise, leave a comment or question below, and myself or one of the other experienced riders here on MCrider will be glad to help you out and hopefully answer your questions for you. And if you haven't been subscribed to the New Rider series and you're a new rider, go back and check that out. We've got several videos geared specifically for people like yourself who are new to motorcycling and are trying to get started on the right foot. So until next week, guys, it's Kevin with MCrider, and we'll see you on the road. MCrider is supported by our friends on Patreon. To learn how to support MCrider and get access to the field guide, go to mcrider.com/support.